Welcome, fight fans, to Big Fight Breakdown. Immediately after that big fight card in Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena, Canelo Alvarez, to the surprise of very few, probably no one, with a big unanimous decision victory over Edgar Berlanga. He retains his WBO and WBC super middleweight titles and moves to 62-2 with 2 draws and 39 wins by knockout, and hands Edgar Berlanga his first loss of his career. George DiMatteis here on ProBox TV. Looking forward to your comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, if you got some super chats, you put them on the chat. We will read them here on Big Fight Breakdown. I'm not by myself. I'm joined by a world champion. We got Paulie Malignaggi joining us and Tim Bradley, ESPN analyst, Hall of Famer, joining us as well. All right, fellas, no surprise there, right? From the opening bell to the final bell, Paulie, looked like Berlanga was outmatched and Alvarez was in complete control of this fight.
Yeah. I mean, Edgar had a couple of moments, but it was pretty much what was expected. Edgar did a little better than what a lot of people thought. I thought the fight would end in a stoppage. Edgar held on well. He even gave back as good as he got in a few occasions. But yeah, I thought the overall scorecards, told the story of the fight. At max, he won 3 rounds, which David Sutherland gave him. I never felt he went completely for broke, which I would have liked to see, at least maybe in the 12th round. He was focused on not taking too much damage while trying to give some damage. It wasn't a survival job like Jermell Charlo. That was absolutely disgraceful. But it was also, I felt like it wasn't so much a survival job as much as it was, hey, listen, Edgar is what he is. You can't fault Edgar for being what he is. This is what he's gonna be, and that's what he was always gonna be. That's why Canelo picked him as the opponent, right? But overall, yeah, I'm not really too surprised. Edgar actually did a little better than I thought.
Yeah, Tim, what did you make of this fight? Before we get into the specifics and round by round and some of that stuff, what did you make overall of the fight? No surprise, right? Canelo pretty easily, well, not easily winning, but convincingly.
Man, I love the fight. I thought the fight was entertaining. I thought that we saw Edgar grow up before our eyes. Like he got caught, he got dropped, he got up, he fought back, he fought Canelo off of him. He was able to get respect from Canelo. He was able to remain patient and and box a little bit in spots. He did some clever things in there, man. Mark, his trainer, I believe his name, yes, Mark. He did a great job, man. They had a great game plan. It just felt that Edgar didn't have that experience, man, to be able to manage these rounds, man. Canelo, you could just tell the way he was slowly breaking them down. He was making a miss, and then hit him with a shot here, hit him with a shot there. Whereas Edgar was more so trying to compete, but he wasn't really trying to win. He don't know how to win just yet. But man, I thought he grew up before our eyes, man. Edgar, I think he showed where he's projected to go, man. I thought this was a decent performance by him. No, he didn't win the fight at all. But damn, he did a lot better than what I was expecting, man. He showed that he has it, inside as well. But damn, I thought it was a good fight, man. Very entertaining fight by Canelo Alvarez.
Damn, I thought you made a good point. He didn't know how to win, and that's what I felt. That's actually, you couldn't have said it any better with what I was thinking, because I was saying he wasn't surviving like Charlo, but at the same time he didn't go for it for broke completely. And maybe because he didn't know how to do it, maybe it was like, because in moments he did fight back. It wasn't a survival job by any means. In moments he did fight back, but it was almost like, yeah, he didn't know how to properly fight back and take some rounds and be cerebral in those moments. But yeah, it was certainly a fight that I think he'll grow up from.
Yeah, don't forget to hit us up on the comments there on the chat as well. And we want to hear what you have to say, and also super chats as well. So keep those comments flowing here on the live chat on Big Fight Breakdown. I want to talk about that 3rd round knockdown there. Canelo Alvarez with that left hook catching at Berlanga, and then Berlanga goes down, and immediately he punches his gloves as if to say, I'm not hurt. I just made a big mistake there. What did you make of that 3rd round and how that played out with that knockdown by Alvarez, Paulie?
Actually, I think that's one of Alvarez's sneakiest shots, is that left hook to the head, that it comes out looking like a jab at first, and then he kind of turns it into a hook. I can remember working the first Canelo fight I ever worked, which was Josecito Lopez for Showtime. And it was the first time I'm seeing Canelo live ringside. And that shot dropped Lopez as well. And I can remember looking at it and be like, wow, it's like that thing, like in real time, live, that is such a sneaky shot. Like you'll find yourself going to parry a jab, and then that thing comes around the side and whacks you in the head as a left hook. So It's one of the sneakiest shots. Some of the better fighters are kind of adept to it. Maybe they've watched them on video, they study it. Like it didn't really get Golovkin like that. I felt like in a lot of the fights with him, even though Canelo did try it and it was there. But that's the shot that got Berlanga tonight. I mean, it only got him once, but it's a sneaky. I'm telling you, man, I've seen it live in person. It's a sneaky shot. You can find yourself parrying it. Like I was looking at it like, wow, I might have been trying to parry that. I would have got hit with a left hook.
Castillo had that same shot. That's the same shot that Castillo caught Corellis with when you go to the low and then boom, come up top.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Castillo had that same punch, but man, I knew that shot was going to be open, but you can tell that Edgar was pissed off because he'd been working through the entire camp to hold that phone, hold that right hand at home, because that's Canelo's signature punch is the left hook, and he knew it was going to come. But he was able to just feint it out of place just for a split second and come around, man, and change it to a left hook. And that was all she wrote, man. But however, I mean, Berlanga, man, you saw the way he got up and he fought. Man, he fought with so much heart and so much courage, man, being knocked down. You could tell this kid was just so determined to, at least compete and stay on his feet and somewhat get a moral victory,
He even threw a couple of intentional headbutts in there.
We knew that was coming. I mean, that's his MO. A couple of headbutts. I mean, you remember he got suspended for biting a man in a ring blow.
Bro,
so
Berlanga losing by DQ was like plus 10,000, bro.
Oh my gosh! Oh man, and that's the bet right there, right?
Was that the Brooklyn coming out there, Paulie? Berlanga with
I mean, Tim even said it. I remember when he bit the guy in the shoulder. I was thinking, bro, I'm gonna be like a sneak prop bet to throw in there. Berlanga losing by DQ,
Yeah, but I was, I'm gonna just talk about Canelo for a second, man. Let's talk about Canelo, man.
Sure.
A lot of people's gonna bash him because he didn't stop Berlanga. That I'm letting you know right now. I'm not gonna bash him because he didn't stop Berlanga. I mean, he did everything and more. I mean, he took the fight to Berlanga. He threw more punches Berlanga. He outlanded Berlanga, and Berlanga's the younger guy. And Canelo's at the twilight of his career, and he's out punching these younger guys, man. This dude is a bad man. I don't care how y'all look at it. I don't care what we've been saying in the past, but this dude, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, damn, did you see how big Berlanga's was compared to Canelo Alvarez? And I know that Canelo's been at this weight class for some time now, but damn, he didn't start here. Berlanga started at 168 pounds, and he looked every bit of it. And Canelo's able to deal with these bigger guys, man, with his skill, with his talent, with his, his patience, with his punch placement, with his experience and ring IQ, man. It's impressive as hell, man, to me. It's impressive as hell to me, bro.
Tim, you're walking right into what I didn't want to say because I didn't want to get the triple team started. You're walking into what I didn't want to say, but all right, let's start with this one. These big guys. One of the reasons he said he didn't want to fight Benavidez because he's a big guy and he's gonna be a 180 pounder. He shouldn't even be a super middleweight and all this stuff. He's fighting these big guys. He's fighting the big guys that shouldn't be in the ring. We can credit Canelo for doing what he does. He's still a solid fighter. He does a lot of those little subtle things that are really sneaky, really tricky. It's still probably a top 5 super middleweight, regardless. If he would fight the mandatory Benavidez and lose the title, he would still remain a top 5 super middleweight. And he shows that, and that's where you can credit him tonight. Those subtle things, he still does them. He still shows desire. He still mentally knows how to win a fight and physically know how to take the fight to you. But he fights these big guys and then he avoids Benavidez. So he's not fighting these big guys. He chooses the big guys he fights. Because there's a big guy who's been his mandatory for 3 years and he doesn't fight him. Then you're going to credit him for doing what he did, but you can't criticize him. You got to criticize him for fighting Berlanga in the first place. Remember, this is the same guy that when Demetrius Andrade walking on eggshells in a post-fight press conference trying to tiptoe and not disrespect him, saying, hey, when am I going to get my shot? Canelo was like, who you fight, bro? You don't fight nobody. And he actually said it with an arrogance. Who did Berlanga fight to deserve this fight tonight? Who did Berlanga get in the ring with? That's the excuse you used to avoid Demetrius Andrade when he even was respectful in that post-fight press conference at a time with Andrade when Andrade was still dangerous, mind you. So we're here. We're going to have the same conversation over and over again. I get it. But there's things you can credit and there's things you got to say. You can't go.
All right, fellas. Hold on 1 second, Tim, because I got a couple of chats and comments, and then we're going to welcome in Chris Algieri. Tu Papa, I wonder if he's a Junior de Barranquilla fan, says, Berlanga should have stayed outside with his jab. It was working, and he could have outworked Canelo. Berlanga showed a lot of heart, but Canelo smothered his reach by staying inside. That's what Tu Papa mentioned. And then Tommy Gunn, $9.99 super chat. Tommy, thank you very much for that. What things do you think Berlanga did well and bad during the fight, and would McCumby be a good fight for him next? All right, let's bring in Chris Algieri to talk about this fight, and then we'll get to the answer to the question there placed by Tommy Gunn with the super chat, as Chris Algieri is inside T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, still dealing with the energy of that big victory for Canelo Alvarez. So it should be fascinating to hear what he has to say and talk about the mood inside the arena there. Go ahead, Paulie.
I was thinking about Berlanga and McCumby. You know, as the fight was ending, I'm like, you know, it wouldn't be bad.
All right, Chris. Thank you very much joining us here from T-Mobile Arena. Chris, what did you make of the fight there and Berlanga's performance, and then obviously Canelo's win?
Well, first and foremost, the energy in the arena was absolutely electric. I mean, Canelo is still a force in this sport. I believe that we got the numbers, and it was a sellout. It was absolutely jam-packed in here. Every time he was on the Megatron, the big screen, this place went absolutely insane. They blew up every single time. When he came out, he had a long, drawn-out walkout. People were on their feet the entire time. The energy in the room, I mean, you can feel it. It's a palpable thing. It's like another entity here. You know, it's just dealing with the energy that surrounds Canelo. And when he's going for the finish, the crowd moves with him. It's awesome. It's a really, really cool experience. You see them getting excited. They stand up, and they're spurring him on. He definitely takes energy from the crowd as well. That being said, Berlanga's walk-in, you know, he was in enemy territory. He was getting booed. He was smart. They did a very loud music for his walkout, so you couldn't hear their boos. But every time the music dropped down, you heard the crowd viciously booing Berlanga. Berlanga, I thought, stayed steadfast. He did well under the lights in the moment. I was impressed. I thought he did some things in there that showed that he belongs in there. He belongs at this level. He was very, very, very big. Tim, I did think you mentioned how much bigger he looked. I knew that going in. I've been close to both these guys. Edgar's a much bigger man, but he looked very big, very strong, and very fast. And I think the speed actually gave Canelo a little hesitation early on. I didn't think he was going to expect Berlanga to be that quick. And listen, Berlanga said the key to victory for him was the jab. He threw a lot of jabs tonight for him. He was throwing that jab defensively. He was throwing it off the bat as he was moving backward. He landed some good jabs. He lumped up the cheek of Canelo, landed some good shots. For me, though, he just didn't lead enough. He was too much waiting. He let the experienced man walk him down. He put his back on the ropes far too much. But you can tell, Mark Perret and the team, they worked on all of the moves, the techniques that Canelo does. He didn't get hit with a lot of body shots at all. Canelo was trying. He was able to move. He had great upper body movement, was getting away from that left hook. He made that one mistake, which I heard you guys talking about in terms of reaching out with that tricky left hook that Canelo throws. But all in all, for a non-competitive fight, it was very entertaining. I enjoyed it. Edgar looked dangerous, so you're still watching the fight like, anything can happen. He landed some shots here and there. Canelo's Canelo. He is the 34-year-old Canelo for sure. The guy throws 30, 35 punches around, but he's entertainment value, man. They had a lot of jimmer drawing back and forth. You know, there was some dramatic movements and step arounds and that. There was some headbutts and some low blows. Harvey Doc had a busy night tonight, separating those two guys because there was some real animosity between them. But all in all, I thought it was a very entertaining fight. I think Berlanga got a moral victory tonight for sure. Showed a lot of people that, you know, he can do some things in this sport, this weight class. But I mean, the crowd is still here. They're still hanging out. Energy all week was awesome. So boxing is alive and well. We got sellouts and we're going head-to-head with UFC. So.
Is Canelo the face of boxing?
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is the face of boxing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no question. No question. I don't really think that was a question before this. After this, absolutely, definitely not. Yeah. These fans are out of control, and they've been here all week long. You hear them now. Canelo is now exiting the building.
Yeah, Chris Algieri at the T-Mobile Arena, fresh off ringside after the Canelo Alvarez unanimous decision victory over Edgar Berlanga. And Tim, you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I just want to go back what Paulie was talking about. So, Paulie, Canelo went up to 175 pounds and he faced one of the baddest men up there and he was beat by him. What say that Canelo rematches that man Bivol at 175 pounds if he wins the undisputed match against Beterbiev? Would that be good enough if he does that for you instead of fighting Benavidez?
Benavidez? I mean, it wouldn't be good enough, but it would be shocking. It would be shocking because I don't think he wants to see Benavidez or Bivol or anybody for that matter that is on top of their game right now, that is on top of the game right now, I think he's looking to, I could see him fighting like the Mbilis of the world, or the Chris Eubanks of the world, still solid fighters. This is not a guy who is like shot and I'm saying, oh, what is he doing? This is still a guy who, like you were talking about, does a lot of the subtle things very, very well still, and really is a scientist in the ring. But he's just, again, he's not active enough in there. There's things that he just wouldn't be able to do to handle certain top flight guys at their best right now. And that's not even necessarily a bad thing. I mean, he's 33, 34 years old, right? So you wouldn't really expect that. But the fact that he's allowed to keep those titles, that's my problem. Because he could still be a solid top 5 guy, be entertaining, beat some solid guys like, your Mbilis of the world, your Eubanks of the world. They're still top 10 guys, whatever weight class they're in. But no, I don't think he fights Bivol. I think you got a better shot at seeing pigs fly than him fighting Bivol or Benavidez. I'll be honest with you. And I've been saying that already. I've been saying that for a while, and I keep being right. And then all I get is I got to get slack for it. It's not going to happen. There's no shot. You can tell in the way he's moving, it's never going to happen. He's moving this way if he's planning to fight those kind of fights.
We got a super chat from Gerard Stewart, $10. Gerard, thank you very much for your super chat there. This is a question specifically for Tim. It says, since Bud is your man, do you think Bud has any chance of beating the Canelo we saw tonight? Since we're talking about possible next opponents for Canelo Alvarez, can Bud take those aggressive flurries to the torso and arms all night?
It's an extremely tough fight for Bud Crawford. He knows it. I know it. Everybody knows it. Anybody that's around boxing, man, that's done boxing, that's been in boxing, they know it. Even the fans know that's a tough fight for Bud. There's subtle things that I see that Berlanga was able to do inside of there to be able to slow down Canelo. All right. Those probes, just a small little probes controlling space right there, just controlling space out there. That was able to slow down Canelo in his assault. The jab, you're able to slow down Canelo to get in the position where he wants to get to be able to land that left hook. I mean, subtle things, even feints was throwing him off. It was the small things that I saw that Berlanga was doing that was somewhat getting, without even having to throw a punch, getting Canelo off his game and slowing him down. So Crawford, yes, he has a chance, but damn it, he cannot take those punches on the shoulders, on the forearms, on the biceps from Canelo and think he's going to be able to finish the fight on his feet. Canelo drains you, man. He has a special way of draining these fighters. He beats you on the arms. He takes your best punch away, which is the jab, by banging you on your shoulder. There's so many. Go ahead.
Berlanga's arms were beat to shit. Like they were bruised on the outside of his arm. That right arm. Those last couple of rounds, the power went way down because of all the beating. And Canelo, he changed up today. He was doing these weird punches over the top, like trying to almost like Triple G used to.
Russian,
he used to throw with both hands.
Russian hooks.
Yeah, over the top. Over the top hooks. Which I didn't think was a great move against such a tall guy. It seemed like he was either hitting real high or real low along the shoulders, the chest, the body. Yeah, I agree. Those kind of shots on a smaller frame like a Crawford, he can't stay still for 12 rounds at all. In front of that man.
He got to make all that. He got to make all that shit miss. He has to make all that miss.
You can't let a guy like Canelo bang on you like that. And even Berlanga, who's a big, strong guy, he was getting banged on his hip, his shoulder, his arms. You fight Canelo, you're going to feel that for a week like it was a car accident because you're getting hit everywhere.
Tim, one of the things you said when you were talking about, that you were talking about a lot of the subtle things he does. One of the things Canelo does do well is, even at this age, it allows him to not have to punch so much, is to press forward in a way where he's a compact, tight, solid defensively, and he's in your face all the time. And he cuts the ring off well from there. And so from there, Yeah, and so yeah, he blocked your punches. He doesn't lose position when you throw at him. He kind of like
He jams him.
catches you on jam. Yeah, jams him, or they go like a little bit, or some of them will land, but they're not landing cleanly. It's not enough to get him to stop that position battle, and so it stresses you because you know when he's close, he hits hard. He's banging you on the arms like you and Chris are talking about. He's throwing body shots. So it's one of those things. I noticed Crawford had a little bit of discomfort from Madrimov in the 154-pound fight, where Crawford, especially early on, was circling a lot on the perimeter of the ring, boxing well, but Madrimov was also holding his own as he was pushing back Crawford. So it made right away when I saw that, I started thinking 168-pound Canelo would give a lot of problems. Listen, guys, weight classes exist for a reason, man. I think Crawford is the most versatile, talented guy in boxing today. Maybe absolutely one of the most versatile, talented guys ever in boxing. There's so much he can do, but there's certain things you just, you can't undo. And that's the weight class differences. Sometimes they're just too much.
I think we forget that Crawford's older too. He's smaller and older. He's 37 years old. Canelo's 34. It's 3 years. So yes, Crawford is amazing. Yes, he has a deep bag of tricks that he can use to fight a bigger man. He can figure out he can be the smaller man and still win fights. But guys, time is ticking. He's not getting younger. He's getting older. Canelo is the younger guy, and just the weight classes are there for a reason. Age is a real thing as well.
And he's a truck, and he's gonna go straight through Crawford. I understand Crawford is strong. I get it. He can go up to probably walk around at 170, but it's a different.
Tim, those things you were talking about though, that slow Canelo at times, the little probing,
subtle thing, probes.
You frame with the forearm or probe with the hand. While you're doing that, you change levels. You go up, you go down with your levels. You give different looks while doing that. At the same time, you mix the right amount of offense in between that to keep a guy off balance. You got to feint right. You can't make a mistake with 12 rounds, though, is the problem. You can do if you balance all that correctly, you actually will throw him off, Canelo, because he doesn't get off enough punches and you change enough looks and do enough that. But you literally can't make too many mistakes.
And you want to know another thing is that you got to outpunch him. You have to outpunch him. Paul had to throw 700 punches in order to beat Canelo. 700 punches, man. He had to be active, because when he's at that point where you got him outside, you saw him. Yeah, you do got to be the boss, and you got to let your hands go. And that's what Edgar was lacking. He didn't let his hands go enough in combinations. You see, every now and then he'll throw a 1-2 right down the middle.
That's what I was talking about. I didn't feel like he totally went for the win. And like you made a good point. Maybe he didn't know how to, but man, sometimes I just feel like that's something inside you, bro. Listen, bro, you go.
It was all responses from Berlanga. It was all responses. He didn't lead. Yeah. He didn't lead as the boss. He had a really nice move. He was ready for Canelo's left hook to the body. He was throwing that like shuttle uppercut off that rear hand. It was like just whizzing by, and it made Canelo think. Those whizzing by punches. God, this guy's fast. He's strong. Berlanga's conditioning was fantastic. He was still explosive late in the fight, and that's what kept Canelo from just walking through everything because he was still throwing hard, fast punches. But he didn't believe it though. Everything was a response. In the last round, he did. You see how many punches he landed in that last round?
Well, it's the last round. The last round. Not the last round. You give everything you got. It's the last round. But see, that's the thing. That's the experience part, right? I'm talking about. Yeah. Like you learn how to manage your time inside that ring, man. Each round, you know how to manage. You know how to take some on the gloves. You know how to dish some out. You know how you feel. Canelo knows that, understands that because he has experience. But Berlanga doesn't know that. And it showed in the fight. And that's the reason why you saw 1-2 punches at a time because he did not want to tire out. He did not want to get tired. And Canelo just put that pressure on him, constantly putting that pressure on him. He was afraid he was going to wear out. And as you said, yes, he was conditioned, but he didn't really believe it until that last round, man.
You never been there until you've been there.
Yeah.
Very true. By the way, there's a funny comment here on the chat from the Angry Casual fan that says, y'all stop talking about Canelo fighting 154-pounders. So that's an interesting comment there.
because when we talk about him fighting 168 pounds, we get called haters. We got to talk about him fighting the realistic fights.
There's a good super chat question here from Ishmael Bermudez here. He says, what do you think about Plant versus Berlanga? Remember Plant beating Trevor McCumby earlier on the fight card for the interim WBA super middleweight title. That fight was stopped 259 in the 9th round. So what about Caleb Plant? What do you think about that one, Tim? Caleb Plant versus Edgar Berlanga next at 160. That seems like that could be a really good fight.
That's a hell of a fight. I mean, tonight I saw a lot of vulnerability in Caleb Plant, and it could be because of the ring rust. He's been out of the ring for some time. But, you know, he showed tonight that he had a deep bag. I mean, McCumby came to fight, man, and he showed that he was physically strong, similar to like a Berlanga. Berlanga is strong, physically strong, man, and Canelo had to respect that. He wasn't just going to walk in on him, Berlanga. You know, he couldn't because he felt those heavy hands. He had to freaking show respect. So if these two was the fight, man, I think it'll be a great fight, man. You know, the way that Plant was able to get on the inside and mount his attack, man, and set up and had those frames, beautiful uppercuts, dipping down to the body, man. I don't know where he learned all that stuff at because I've never really seen Plant actually fight man like that. But
Breadman,
Breadman. Woo! My gosh, Breadman, man, I'm telling you, he took him into the lab, man, and turned him into a machine, man, a complete fighter, because that was missing from Plant. And if he didn't do that, he could have found himself in trouble, because Plant, the mistake that he makes is all the time he steps straight back, he's dropped that right hand, and he always leans this way down to his right. He always does that. And when you saw McCumby, when he rushed forward with 3 punches and he finished with the left hook, he was always able to catch Plant with that shot. So Plant, what did he do? Smart thing to do. He closed the distance, and then he found exactly the key to open up McCumby, and then he stuck with it.
That's the thing.
That was impressive.
He went to get him, and now he changed it up. He went to get McCumby, you know. And and shout out to Stephen Edwards. We call him Breadman, but his name's Stephen Edwards. So shout out to Stephen Edwards, trainer in Caleb Plant's corner.
But I would love to see that.
I like the other super chat question better. I like McCumby and Berlanga first, because, dude, you got just fought Canelo. What do you want to throw him a Plant right away? Let the McCumby fight happen. Let me see where he's at, man. McCumby gave him showed up a little bit. He's a little bit of a front runner, but man, he was there for a second, bro. He was dangerous.
I'm gonna go a little further. Benavidez, Berlanga. Let's go.
Guy killed. Come on, man.
Come on.
Okay.
Benavidez, Berlanga. Now, think about it. If he does, wait, I'm going to go to you, Chris. Give me a second. If Berlanga fights Benavidez and competes with Benavidez, right, and he does well but don't win the fight, maybe Canelo will fight him. Maybe Canelo will be like, all right, I'll fight him.
What happens if he stops him?
Shit, maybe Canelo will fight him again. He might fight him again and be like, all right,
he stops him.
Tim, what are we sending Edgar? We're sending Edgar as a double agent now. We're trying to get him to get the fights.
Come on, man.
It didn't work with Caleb Plant. It didn't work with Caleb Plant. Canelo sent Caleb Plant to fight Benavidez after. It didn't work.
I want to say something about the Plant fight. Afterwards, Plant goes, "There's, people were saying I couldn't fight on the inside. Yeah, I showed you guys that I can." I like that he said that, but I don't think that was true. I think he had to, like you said, Tim. That was an experience. So I said it. I was talking to Super Chat before this. I said, this is a fight of experience. Plant's got it. McCumby doesn't.
Yeah.
And McCumby came out strong, physically, super strong guy. He looked like he was too strong for Plant early on. Was catching him on the end of punches, fighting from the outside where Plant is normally dominant. He was getting caught too much. He got rocked. His legs were starting to go a little bit. And he decided, like, all right, I need to change this fight up. I need to get in this guy's grill. He went head to head and beat that boy up for a bunch of rounds. And that completely changed a fight around. That's experience. Being effective in multiple facets. That Plant showed something tonight that's why he's a world champion. That's the difference between, as you said, a little front running, Paulie, from McCumby. McCumby looked great tonight. He looked strong. I could see him with any one of these guys. Berlanga showed me he could be there with any one of these guys. I like him against Plant. Because we saw that with Plant. He had trouble with a guy who was very physically strong. Berlanga's physically strong. He's a big guy for the weight class. I could easily see that fight happening and being very competitive.
I like McCumby or Berlanga against Mbili, for example.
Mbili's. I like Mbili with everybody. He's a fun fighter. Super fun fight.
So kind of eliminator at 160, right, between Edgar Berlanga and Trevor McCumby. And speaking of Trevor McCumby, we were able to speak to him after that tough loss to Caleb Plant. And what I asked him was the experience. And what was that experience like facing McCumby and being in the ring with the world champion?
Man, I had so much fun the whole week. And then obviously the fight week, I had a lot of fun in the fight. I love being pushed and have great competition. So I feel like I fight better under those circumstances.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing, McCumby? This is Tim Bradley. I just want to know, what did you learn tonight, man, about yourself?
I don't know if I really learned anything about myself. Like, I know that I have speed and power and talent, and I have huge balls. So, yeah, it's, I wanted to, I really wanted to win, but we're gonna get back in the gym and just keep working, and yeah, we'll be back.
Look, you showed in the first half of the fight that you belonged. Like, it looked like it was a competitive fight. You even dropped them the first half. But what happened in the second half, man? What went on? Tell us about what kind of adjustment did he make that surprised you during the fight?
Yeah, like you said, he made an adjustment. He started smothering me a little bit, and we were working on an inside game, but he equally so. I know my trainer Brandon Woods was talking to Breadman, and he said that they were working on their inside game. So he was working on stuff we were working on, pinching the gloves. He kind of pinched my left hand, and you watch the fight, and he knew that he was getting countered with the left hook. So that's one of my best shots, and he saw that and was kind of pinching it on the inside. And I was like, man, I want to get this hand out, and I couldn't really do it. I should have used my legs, but I didn't.
Were you surprised when you dropped him?
No.
Were you surprised? You weren't surprised?
No, I dropped all my sparring partners this camp, so I knew that I had the goods there. I knew if I caught him, he was going to go down, but I should have followed up with more shots. I was kind of throwing that one left hook. I should have thrown 3 or 4 shots.
Yeah, what ended up happening was, when I was watching you fight, it was like you had that success with that left hook, but then you started kind of goofing around. I don't know if you were trying to disguise it or whatnot, but it seemed like you got a bit cocky. It almost felt like you was in total control, didn't it? And you let the fight slowly slip away, man. Moving forward, man, what's your plans next, man? What do you got planned next? What do you want to do, man?
I want to be back in the ring soon and just work my way up. I want to be a world champion. I'm bummed out that tonight wasn't my night, but Caleb's he's a good fighter, and glad, very, very grateful to have the opportunity. And I'm glad that I was able to finally have a coming out fight and show people that I belong.
How good is Caleb Plant? Is he the best fighter you ever been in the ring with thus far?
I'd say in a match, yeah. I'd say sparring wise, no, but Caleb, you can tell he has a little more big fight experience than I do.
Got it, man.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, you know what? You came up short. That's all right. It's a learning experience for you, moving forward in your career. One loss doesn't define you. You can rebuild, you can come back, you can learn from this experience. I saw some things in there that you definitely can improve on, like closing the distance a little bit better, not lunging as much as you did. Coming behind with with your jab, starting off with your jab and bringing your feet with you, as opposed to reaching and lunging. But you are a good fighter, man. You're a talented fighter, man, and you just got to continue to believe in yourself and move forward, man. And I look forward to seeing you in the future, man. You one hell of a fighter, man.
Thank you, Tim. I'm a huge fan of yours, so thank you.
Thank you. Well, you enjoy the rest of your night, buddy.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Tim. You too.
Yeah. And Trevor, believe me, on social media, people were giving you a lot of respect there, much respect for your performance there. So the future is bright for you for sure. Trevor McCumby, thanks for your time here on Big Fight Breakdown.
Thank you, guys.
Paulie, what did you make of Trevor McCumby's comments there about his fight and his performance?
Yeah, I think it's a learning experience. I think like Tim said about Berlanga, you don't know how to win. I think McCumby didn't know how to win in the opposite way. Berlanga didn't know how to go get it. McCumby went and got it too much early on, and then he ran out of gas and he ran out of adjustments to make because he forced Plant to get on those adjustments. And when Plant made those adjustments, McCumby had sort of gassed a little bit. He'd thrown all those hard punches early on, and he'd gone for the gusto early on and whatnot. So again, it comes down to the same thing Tim was saying earlier. You got to know how to win. You got to understand how to balance that out, balance the time in the ring out, and budget those 12 rounds correctly in a fashion where not only aren't you getting hurt and not getting knocked out like Berlanga, but you also actually know how to go for the gusto properly and know how to win properly, where McCumby did it too soon, too much, and didn't have anything left later. So Berlanga edged a little bit on not getting knocked out and didn't get knocked out. McCumby edged a little bit towards on trying to explode and get a big win and ran out of gas. So again, these two guys were in similar situations tonight as far as they're pretty good fighters. Maybe they can be better. I think they'll be better from tonight's experiences, but they had to go learn how to win. Tim, I'm taking your quotes tonight, bro. You said that so well that it keeps resonating over and over.
Yeah, Trevor McCumby, ProBox TV alumnus, doing very well, though, in that fight against Caleb Plant. And as we mentioned, the future is very bright for Trevor McCumby. Once again, ProBox TV alumni just continuing to rise and up the boxing world. Obviously, Angelo Leo is the standard for the alums of ProBox TV. All right, let's get to some super chats here. Lord Hybrid, I love that name, Lord Hybrid, said Berlanga was terrible. No movement, never controlled the distance with his jab and reach advantage, never used his size advantage, no movement, laid in the corner and waited for Canelo to hit him, did not throw enough punches, had bad aim and bad punch selection. Lord Hybrid with some very critical words there for Edgar Berlanga in that fight.
George, Lord Hybrid is right. It's just that we expected so much worse from Berlanga that we end up crediting Berlanga because Berlanga was coming in with almost no expectation. But this is not Edgar's fault. This is Canelo's fault for picking this guy, And then we, on the other hand, it's our fault as well for underestimating Edgar. So therefore, when he does a little bit better, we're like, oh man, he did it. He did. We got to give him credit for this. We got to give him credit for that. It was a learning experience. He did do pretty well. But yeah, when you look at what Lord Hybrid is saying, he's right about all that, really. I mean, you don't expect a Canelo opponent to get outthrown when he's younger than Canelo, have no head movement, made Canelo actually look like he had a good jab, which I've never seen in ages. Canelo actually with a good jab. But even Cotto was out jabbing Canelo, and Cotto's 140-pounder, moved up. Didn't really do a whole lot, but did better than what we expected. So yeah, there's a point there from what Lord Hybrid is saying.
Well, I would just have a little pushback.
Go ahead,
If let's just say if Berlanga was hanging along those ropes, he is nowhere for him to go. Canelo should have been what? Should have been able to finish him, right? Yeah. He must have been doing something right against those ropes. He was making Canelo miss in spots. He was catching a lot of those shots. He would throw occasionally. Again, it's the inexperience. That was the only thing that he didn't have. He didn't have the experience. He didn't have the experience to be able to compete with the knowledge of Canelo Alvarez. Canelo knows how to, again, manage the damn time between those rounds. He understands where to punch, where to be at afterwards, how to cut off the ring, how to step to guys. Like, he understands. Berlanga doesn't know that yet. So what he was doing was, hey, I'm feel safe here. I'm comfortable here. I'm landing here and there. I'm popping it with the jab occasionally. I'm not getting hurt along the ropes. I'm good. I'm comfortable. And he chose to fight there. That's just it. So I hear
you win there. But are you choosing to win there? Can you possibly win there?
Look, I think after the first few rounds, I think Berlanga knew that he couldn't win the fight. He was getting peppered with shots. I knew he knew that he couldn't win the fight, especially after he got dropped. He was fighting to just be able to go the distance with Canelo. That was it. He was fighting in spots to be able to go the distance with Canelo. But if he had more experience, he would have threw more punches. He don't have the experience of going 12 hard rounds because he's never been 12 hard rounds, people. He's never been 12 hard rounds. You don't know until you know. Now he knows. Berlanga's going to grow from this experience. He's going to be better next time out. He's going to be a lot stronger mentally as well. you know, and I think his skills are going to improve as well.
That's why the criticism is on Canelo for picking an opponent like this. It's not on Berlanga. Berlanga is what he is, you know, and he's going to be better from this experience. But
Look,
you know, you don't pick a Berlanga as your opponent at this point in your career when you have almost all the super middleweight titles.
And remember,
look, look, guys, I get it. I get it, and it's like beating on a dead horse. However, you know, the ones before us did the same thing. You know, Mayweather did the same.
Mayweather was fighting ex-world champions, Tim. They were ex-world champions.
Mayweather,
this guy was never in a big fight in his career, Edgar.
Thing, man. He did the same exact thing, man.
Compare ex-world champions that went back after he beat them and still beat other top guys. The guys Mayweather beat went back, with the exception of Berto, who was done, and it was basically a charity thing because Al Haymon used to love Berto. Aside from Berto, I mean, everybody else went back to welterweight.
And your best friend, Paulie. And your best friend, Paulie. Your best friend.
McGregor, but McGregor, that was retirement. That one's different. That was a retirement fight. There was no title on the line. He was 2 years retired. He came back. That's different. You know, that's like if Canelo retires and comes back, you don't even count that really. So the McGregor fight, you can't even count. Berto, I'll give you, even though his next world champion was on the downside, that's a charity. Al Haymon used to love Berto. I'll tell you, that was like Al Heyman's favorite guy. Okay, then everything else. You know, these other guys went back to the welterweight division and won other big fights in the welterweight division. You know what I mean? They didn't just go off and disappear. You know what I mean? Like, for the most part, I think maybe Victor might have gone off and disappeared. But, you know, Guerrero was still hanging around doing well. You know, like these guys would still, you know, guys that were doing well. Berlanga, you don't know that. You're not supposed to find out about Berlanga against Canelo. This is the fates of boxing. You're supposed to find out about Berlanga against Canelo. You're supposed to find out about Berlanga first, then put him in Canelo. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's what he told Andre when he was avoiding Andre. He said, who did you fight? Even though Andre had the opposite problem. He was trying to fight everybody, but he was too good and nobody wanted to fight him. Okay? So you can't mix and match your excuses because then what happens is you step on yourself. He was never going to fight a Mexican to avoid Benavidez. He said he was never going to fight a Mexican. Then he fought Munguia. With Andre, he said, who did you fight? But then he fought Berlanga. Bro, you know what I'm saying? So the criticism cannot go on the opponent. Berlanga is who he is. I think he's going to be better from tonight. I agree with you, Tim. I think there's a learning experience. But the criticism, like Lord Hybrid, all the criticism, you still can't criticize Berlanga. He was always who he was going to be. This is on Canelo, guys.
So I'm just going to say this real quick, man. From my inside source, the reason why he's not fighting Benavidez is because he doesn't like him.
That's an excuse, dude.
Wait. He doesn't like this dude, man, at all. He doesn't want to give this dude a payday.
Nah, that's all bullshit. That's all bullshit. They were nice to him. As a matter of fact, in the beginning, they were really respectful. And I'm like, why are they being respectful? I would be disrespecting them. And they were respectful. It got to the point where the guy still wouldn't fight them. So then you tell them to fuck off. You know, and rightfully so. So the whole, you don't like somebody, bro. Back in the day, you didn't like somebody, bro. Hagler didn't like anybody, but he still fought everybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? Who did Hagler like? Hagler didn't like nobody, bro. But Hagler still fought everybody. You know what I mean? When you didn't like somebody, you fought them. It wasn't like, I'm not doing this. That's all bullshit, bro. And all the fans who defend that none of the money is going in their pocket. What are you defending that for? Like, like when they used to talk about Andre, who did he fight? Who is he? How many fans does he? Bro, what are you counting people's money for? You want to see the best fights, and that's it. That's all you should be worried about. You want to see the best fights. That's all you should be worried about.
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. But guess what? You know how many people came out to see Canelo beat the crap out of Berlanga?
Bro, that's
20,000 plus. Because. And so Canelo, I'm gonna just tell you this: Canelo gonna do what Canelo wants to do.
Tim, that's what's weird to me,
and that's what happens to all these guys that are face of boxing. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just speaking facts. He's gonna do what he wants to do. It don't matter what we say. You heard him after the fight. You heard him. Oh, they said I fight old guys. Now I fight young guys, and now they're gonna say something else. Like he understands that the meter always get moved. We always move the meter.
No, it's not nobody's moving the meter. The meter's been there for 3 years. It's because his name's David Benavidez. He's been there for 3 years. The meter never moved. Before that, it was Demetrius Andre. The meter never moved. You know what I mean? Like, the meter was...
Oh, by the way, you guys are talking about Benavidez. That's kind of the theme of the next super chat here. Jim, the Boxing Life, says, Canelo's no doubt Hall of Famer, but Benavidez is a different beast. Benavidez by unanimous decision. And
well, do you know who Benavidez is fighting next?
At 175.
Who is he fighting? Who is Benavidez fighting next? Ask ask that fan, who is Benavidez fighting next? Does anybody know who Benavidez is fighting next?
Good
No.
question.
Please answer that question.
Yeah, Tim, go for it.
No, I'm about to tell y'all right now who he's
I was
fighting
going to
next.
say I was going to Google it real quick here.
Tim, you Googled it too?
Yeah. In December for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, when I find it, y'all gonna be like, huh? Y'all killer, y'all guy that fights the best guys all the time. Y'all gonna be like, really? Are you kidding me? Hold on. I'm looking for it.
By the way, just while Tim is looking, Gustavo Fontalba
his
has some
name
great chats.
his name is Jesse Hart. That's his name. That's who he's fighting next, people. That killer Benavidez, the one that fights the best guys in the world, the one that's gonna take out Canelo Alvarez. He's fighting Jesse Hart. Talk to me now. I want to hear y'all.
I'm talking to you. David didn't even want to step aside money. He turned down millions in step aside money because he didn't want to even make it look like Canelo. He was ducking Canelo, or he didn't want to fight Canelo. He didn't even ask for the step aside money because in any other situation, you have to pay David Benavidez step aside money, millions, the way Tyson paid Lennox Lewis, and in order not to fight him. And David said, I didn't even want the step aside money. I didn't take the step aside money because I wanted to remain the mandatory so everybody could see he ducks you. He's ducking me. And then he still got ducked, and the Canelo fans still defended it. Shameless, spineless, or people. Oh, you can't be any more.
All right. I got some more facts for you.
Millions in step aside money.
Polly, I love you, man, but I got more facts for you.
Go ahead.
I got more facts for you right here.
Right,
there's a guy named David Morrell that was in the same weight class as him that called him out, and he was supposed to fight him. And Benavidez, what did he do? He ducked David Morrell.
Right.
Flat out.
You're right.
Flat
Can't
out.
argue
A
this.
guy with 9 fights.
Can't argue with you. Can't argue with you there. But
your favorite fighter be ducking too.
You're right, but you're right, and I can't defend that. But here, and I agree with you actually there. But here's what I will say: if Canelo lets the wheel turn and fights the top contenders, that'll the fight would happen. See, once David Benavidez would have run over Canelo like a truck, like a train running through a truck stuck at a train intersection, Benavidez would have then had to fight Morrell as his mandatory, and that fight would have happened. You see how the wheel turns when everybody fights each other, and when you don't jam it at the top. If Canelo and Benavidez would have fought, Benavidez would have won the titles, and then therefore Benavidez and Morrell would have then happened right after that because the wheel has to turn, and that's how it would have worked. So by him jamming it at the top, you jam it all the way down the line, and you ruin the whole weight class. And that's why I have an issue with the guy.
By the way, Boxing God on the chat here says, in all caps, he says, "Thank you, Tim," for that point there. So Boxing God, I guess, is agreeing with Tim there on that point. All right, let's talk about what happened at middleweight, WBA middleweight title fight. Erislandy Lara keeps his belt after a 9th round stoppage there over Danny Garcia. Tim, what did you make of that fight there between Erislandy Lara and Garcia? And it looked like maybe it's the last fight for Garcia there after that result.
Shit, who was the 40-year-old?
Yeah, man, good question. Yeah,
Garcia looked like he was the 40-year-old. I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, where's Swift at? I was like, Swift is no longer there. It's so slow. I was like, yo, what's going on? You know what? Lara fought the fight. Yeah, people was complaining about how boring it was. And it was, it was a more tactical fight. It was. I'm not going to lie. However, Lara was fighting his game plan. That's the way you beat him. You just keep him on the outside. You keep him picking up his feet. And every time he picks up his feet, you pop him with a jab. And you pop him with a jab. And then every now and then he'll do this little Pacquiao thing that I used to hate, man, when Pacquiao used to do it. He'll slip outside like he's going to your body and then throw the left hand right down the middle, man. And it's so hard to freaking time and know when he's going to do it. And that's what he was doing. Just, taking his time, controlling distance on the outside, using this jab. And he never allowed freaking Garcia to get in the range and get in any kind of rhythm. So Lara did what he had to do, and he ended up getting the stoppage at the end. But damn, he didn't look 40. The one that looked 40 was Garcia, and I think he needs to hang it up, man, because he looked bad. He looked terrible tonight.
Stopped for the first time in his career.
Yeah. All right.
And hurt and down.
All right, let's go to the press conference, post-fight press conference. Erislandy Lara is speaking to the press.
Question. questions for Caleb Plant, Edislandi, Lara.
Caleb, can you describe what it was like after the early pressure of the first few rounds, what you did to overcome that and impose your will to win this fight?
Yeah, you know, he was awkward and strong and unorthodox. You know, he would step through on his stance and kind of bull rush me at times, and he even caught me in my shoulders once as I was pulling out and, you know, knocked me down as he was punching my shoulders. I wasn't hurt at all, so it didn't really rattle my feathers or anything like that. I just stayed calm, and, you know, I knew that we switched to the second game plan, and, you know, once we got there, it was easy money.
Hey, Caleb, what's up, man? This is Najee from Cigar Talk. Congratulations on a big win tonight. This is a two-part question. I think first, we saw midway through the fight, you started to really fight inside and press the action. I wanted to know, was that a part of the game plan to really smother his punches? And then the second part is, you know, you built the Revenge Tour brand basically on trying to get the rematch with Canelo. Do you feel like you got that tonight based on your performance?
And do the first part again?
The game plan as far as going inside and smothering?
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, over the last year, we've been working hard on being comfortable wherever the fight goes. And, you know, like I told you guys before, I've been smoothing the edges of my game and that I'm the most complete fighter that I've been yet in my career. And so, you know, once we figured out he was awkward and, you know, unorthodox on the outside, bull rushing and, you know, swinging for the fences, we felt like it'd be, you know, a better plan to step to him, stay on the inside, and break him down. That's what we did. And then as far as the Revenge Tour brand, you know, it's not just about me. You know, we're all out here for revenge. We're all out here to, you know, end up in a better place where we started and get our revenge back on life by any means necessary. So, you know, WBA interim titleist, I'm pretty sure I'll be elevated to WBA regular champ. Canelo's WBA world champ. So, you know, I'll let y'all do the math on that. I'm always willing to take on the biggest test, so you guys know me.
CP, what's going on? It's Marcus Hayes with Fight Hub TV. First off, congratulations on the outstanding performance. I want to know, is that the best show that you think you've put on? You had the fans going several times, several standing ovations before the fight ended. Is that your most satisfying victory that you've ever had?
They're all pretty satisfying when you get your hand raised, but it felt good. I was putting on a show, but my dad and Brad, they started getting on my ass, telling me to stay focused, quit fucking around. And, you know, it's hard because I'm a showman. I like to have fun in the ring. This is something I enjoy. So, but I had to lock back in and, you know, as my dad said, quit fucking around. But we got the job done. So I've had some, you know, entertaining performances. This one's up there.
Edislandi, for you, did you, you know, going ahead and you know, dealing with Danny Garcia, two-division world champion, you know, you hit him with some big shots. Did you feel as if it was only a matter of time before he wilted under your power?
¿Sentís que contra Danny Garcia era no sí, pero cuándo lo ibas a noquear, que era cuestión de tiempo?
Bueno, yo sentí que solamente
So we hear from Caleb Plant and Edislandi Lara after their victories. We have a couple of super chats here. There's two real quick here before we get to an interesting one from Lord Gonzo. JRGV1 says, Benavides only has size on Canelo like a Berlanga. And then also Doug says, I love Paulie, man. Always speaking the truth. And then Lord Gonzo. We've had Lord Hybrid, Lord Gonzo. This is quite a royal affair here on Big Fight Breakdown. Lord Gonzo says, stick a fork in Danny, he's done. Canelo versus Crawford, the next big super fight, if no Benavides. All right, Paulie, what do you make of Lord Gonzo's comments about stick a fork in Danny Garcia, he's done, and then obviously the super fight, but more on Danny Garcia and his future?
Yeah, I think Danny, probably the comfortable life. You could see he'd been out for 2 years and he really, it didn't really, again, going to get it. Danny has won at the biggest levels in the sport. So he knows what it takes to go get it and go know how to win. He's not in the Berlanga situation where maybe he doesn't know how. It was more so, Danny's 36. He's worth millions of dollars. He's done it all in the sport. And it's probably, you find yourself on fight night in a difficult situation, and it's just, you don't have that same fire to go get it anymore, man. It's just, and yeah, so it's, I just felt like that's what I was watching with Danny. So yeah, do you want to say stick a fork? At a certain point, we got to stick a fork in all of us, right? So yeah, it did seem like there was the time there. It didn't seem like Danny has that same mental strength that he used to have. He was always known for. Danny was one of the most mentally strong fighters in the sport, and got stopped for the first time in his career tonight.
Hey, Paulie, real quick, you guys got to understand how this was framed and set up. The catch weight was 157 pounds. It wasn't at 160. Think about that for a second. The promoter wanted Danny to win.
Yeah.
You want to know why they wanted Danny to win? Think about it. And this is a business move. It's because they can do more with Danny. If Danny wins, now they can put him into a bigger fight because he's marketable. He has a name. But Lara, they're like, this dude keeps winning. But we don't know we don't know, you know what I mean? We don't know what
in a weight class that we don't know what to do in.
Yeah, we don't even know what to do. But if Danny was in the weight class, we know we can, go up and down and fluctuate and we can match him with here, but we don't know what we're gonna do with Lara. But Danny, he didn't show up, I'm sure he had the memo, but he didn't show up and he didn't do what he had to do.
Tim, it's probably a favor to everybody, because if Danny would have won the title, you could already see the writing on the wall. He was gonna make catchweight defenses against everybody, so it would have it would have went down a bad path, like Canelo has with the two middleweight titles. You could have seen it go down that path. So it's kind of, when you look at it from that perspective, it's probably good that Lara kept the title. At least he's going to be fighting a full-fledged middleweight, and he'll make the middleweight weight limit for the world titles, which is what the rule is anyway.
So what's next for Erislandy Lara? Does he begin a quest to unify the titles at middleweight there? We've talked about how middleweight is a slim division, so the possibilities are there. What do you think is next for Erislandy Lara, even at 41, still getting the job done, winning fights?
I don't know, man. You see, that's the shame of Hurd not performing on ProBox and fighting that draw with Rosario. Because look, now you would have a perfect situation where you'd be talking about a Lara and Hurd rematch. They're both a little long in the tooth, but they'd both still be good if Hurd had shown up against Rosario, and you would have a rematch of what was one of the most dynamite fights of my era when I was working at Showtime for 8 years, and it could easily sell. Now I'm not really sure, honestly. I don't really know, because there's not a lot going on in that weight class to begin with.
Carlos Adamas, he's with PBC. Lara's with PBC. Let's do a unification match there.
Yeah, that's a great fight. That for me. That's the only avenue you can take it, right? Yeah, if they both.
You have Janabek holding down 2 straps.
But he's at top rank.
And he's with TR.
And you don't even know if he can make weight.
Exactly. And on top of that, he's not a major star yet. So, I mean, even doing a undisputed championship between those guys, it's not going to make money. It doesn't make sense for these promoters. So I'm just talking the business side, people. Now, as far as the competition go, I'm all about that competition. Right. I'm all about Canelo facing Benavidez. I'm all about, I'm all about everything Paulie said, but I'm just speaking the facts on Canelo's side and where he's at in the business. That's all I'm saying, because I agree wholeheartedly with you, Paulie. I understand where you're coming from. However, there are other facts that I have to say, because this is what we do. Journalism, baby.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the press conference there with Caleb Plant and Erislandy Lara.
Right to do. I appreciate him, and whatever happens with him, it's up to him.
All right, we're going to let these guys go. Caleb, final message that you have. You're the interim WBA super middleweight champion of the world. What do you want to tell all the fight fans that we're watching around the world as you look ahead towards the future?
Yeah, just appreciate all you guys tuning in. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. Thank you for all the media coming out here and, getting our messages across to the fans. Love all you guys, and, hopefully see y'all soon in a big fight.
Caleb Plant, ladies and gentlemen, I will once again turn it over to Erislandy Lara. Erislandy, final comments as you go ahead and enjoy some well-deserved rest.
Bueno, quiero darle las gracias a todos, a PBC, a Amazon Pride, a Luis de Cuba Jr., a Geme, a todos ustedes por estar aquí esta noche y por el apoyo, a mi esposa que está ahí conmigo también, a mi equipo, ¿no? Y seguimos adelante. Muchas gracias.
Well, I would like to thank everybody here, the media, PBC, Amazon Prime, Luis de Cuba Jr., Al Heyman, my wife that's over here, and my whole team that's also over here. And, I appreciate you all. See you next time.
Congratulations to Caleb Plant, Edislandi Lara, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause to the two champs. Great to see them inside the ring victorious.
Thank you, Mario.
And back here, big fight breakdown,
Crazy.
post-fight of Canelo Alvarez, Edgar Berlanga. It was a great card all around. George DeMatteis alongside ESPN analyst, Hall of Famer Tim Bradley, and world champion Paulie Malignaggi joining us here on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and drop your comments here for big fight breakdown. And let's talk about the fight card overall. We saw Stephen Fulton get a split decision. A little bit of controversy that one over Carlos Castro. Rolly Romero, unanimous decision victory over Manuel Jaimes. On the card there, Tim, what fighter stood out for you on the card there when it comes to this whole fight night in Vegas?
None of those guys. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, Fulton coming off of the Inouye loss, you always wonder how a guy's going to come back, especially from suffering a loss, a severe loss to Inouye and getting knocked out and embarrassed like that in that fashion. And you're just wondering what his mental state is and how it's going to affect him physically inside the ring. And as you saw, he got knocked down again, but he got back up this time and he finished strong and he was able to pull off this decision win. But different weight class, man. It's tough. The guy he faced, Castro, he's tough. He is tough. He's durable, but he's beatable. And I didn't think that Fulton, with the skill level that he has and brings inside the ring, I didn't think he was going to struggle as much as he did. However, again, he's been out of the ring for a very long time, and ring rust is a real thing. We saw it with Danny Garcia just, a few hours ago. We saw it with Fulton as well. And then Rolly. I mean, I don't even know what to say about Rolly. I think Rolly Romero is suffering something mental. I'm not a doctor. I'm not anything like that, but I'm just saying something mental because that knockout loss that he suffered to Gervonta Davis, and then who else? Didn't he get knocked out twice? It was twice he got knocked out. Pitbull Cruz. Yeah. I mean, dude, something's not right up here, man. I don't know what it is. Something is not right up here, man. But you can see it affect him in his fights. This is a guy that fights in spurts. Still ain't really learned the art of boxing. Very unorthodox. Throws punches wildly. It's hard to really It was an ugly. I don't even know who the hell the guy he faced. It was some guy that I never heard of before, but this dude was literally competing with him.
Yeah.
Stepping to him and competing with him, although Roy won the fight.
All right, well, Edgar Berlanga has a chance to speak to the press here. Let's listen to the chosen one after that tough loss against Canelo.
I got dropped in the third round. I came back and, fought a hard fight. I fought a legend, man. So a guy like me, right? The whole world was against me, right? And I was probably like 0 to 100, like 1 to 100 and on the odds, right? And just facing a legend, man, is something different. It's a blessing too to share the ring with him. But I'm excited. I finally got my feet wet at the highest level, at the pinnacle of boxing. And I feel like I handled it well. We sold the fight great, and we fought a great fight. We gave the fans what they wanted to see. War. And, that's what Mexicans and Puerto Ricans do, when they go in the ring and share the ring together.
Questions for Edgar Berlanga from the media. Questions.
Straight back. Edgar, Dan Raphael here. Heck of a performance, even in a loss. I wonder if you take solace in the fact that you were able to go the distance with him in a fight that so many people thought that you were going to be knocked out in the early part of the fight.
Yeah, like I said before, man, the whole world was against me, and I was saying it in interviews, nobody believed in me. I felt like I had probably like 20% of the world, maybe 10% of the world that believed in me. They thought I was going to probably get knocked out in 2-3 rounds, but it was a great fight, man. I knew, that it was going to be a great fight at the end of the day, man. I'm a warrior, and like I said before, I was calling this guy for 4 years, and like I said, man, he's a legend. He fought Floyd Mayweather when he was young, and look who he became after that loss. So I gained a lot of experience, man, being in the ring with him. He's a great fighter, but I know that he knows that I'm the future legend of the sport.
So to follow up on that briefly, Do you feel like that, even though this was not a win for you, that similar to what happened with Canelo and losing to Floyd, like you mentioned, that this will help you in the future, that you'll be confident that you're to be taken seriously, that you'll be able to hang with the other top super middleweights out there after going 12 rounds and taking one of the best fighters of all time?
Yeah, man. Definitely, I put the whole 168-pound division on notice. I know that they know that I'm coming to fight. And listen, you know, facing a guy like Canelo, right? He's the man. He's the top dog at 168. You know, there's no bigger than him. You know, at the 168 division, he's a Floyd Mayweather. He's a Manny Pacquiao. He's that type of guy. You know, when you fight him, it's like a concert. You know, and I feel like I handled it very, very well. You know, I gave my part. You know, and people laugh, right? But for real, right? He's a guy that I looked up to growing up, man. You know, and obviously I didn't want to tell him that. You know, I didn't want to tell him, yo, you're an idol to me. You know, I didn't want to say that because it's like, damn, I'm about to fight this dude. But he's somebody that we always studied, that we always looked up to, and I wanted to fight him. I'm like, damn, I want to fight my idol. But I never told him, you know, I never told the media, I never told nobody, you know, because I felt like people would have really thought that I was going to go out there and just take a knee or something just to get the opportunity to fight my idol, you know. But I told him after the fight, I said, you somebody that we look up to, you know, for many years. And, you know, it's a blessing, man, to be here. You know, I'm not going to lie, this is crazy. You know, 22,000 sold out, you know, it's a blessing.
Questions for Edgar Berlanga.
Hey, right here, Edgar. Miguel Maravilla, Fight News. First of all, Edgar, congratulations on this fight. Do you feel you're a player now at 168 after this performance?
I truly, right now I'm a winner, right? So I got defeated today, so, you know, 50% of me is down and 50% of me feels okay. But, you know, between my father, you know, one of the legends right here, Memo, my coach, Eddie Hearns, and Keith is telling me that, you know, I shocked the world. And, you know, right now, you know, I'm a superstar in the 168 division. You know, I handle everything well, man. You know, I went in there with a legend, and I shocked the world. You know, people thought that I was going to probably get knocked out early, and I went in there and did what I had to do. You know, we didn't come out with the victory, but, hey, it is what it is. You know, it's just another stepping stone to greatness.
Right here, congratulations on great performance. You fought the best fighter in the world. You fought the best fighter in the world. Congratulations on that performance. You took his best shots. You even got up when you got knocked down in the third round. Can you rate Canelo Alvarez's power? How hard does he hit from everybody that you fought or ever sparred?
I'll say he is the hardest for sure. One of the fighters that hit very hard was Angulo. You know, he's a Cuban guy, and he punched very hard too. So I'll say both of them are like the same, but, you know, with Canelo, I was just mentally ready for his shots. You know, I already told myself, I know I'm going to get hit. I know I'm going to get hit on my chin, but it's, you know, I got to bite down on my mouthpiece and push. You know, and look what happened in the third round. I got hit with a left hook. We'd be practicing in camp the whole time, you know, keeping my right hand to my chin, and I wound up just moving, and he connected right on my chin. And you see how I punched my glove. You know, that's like a thing for me when my last time when I got dropped, I was punching my gloves. I'm like, damn, I got hit with a shot. I'm not supposed to be on the floor. But, you know, it comes to boxing. You know, the greats done got dropped, you know, got hurt. But it's about how you come back and respond.
I had a quick question for Eddie Hearn. Eddie, you watched Canelo destroy so many other guys. How proud are you of Edgar and the way that he hung in there through this fight?
Yeah, so proud because he's never boxed anywhere near that level before. And you know, one of the things that we probably wanted and needed was that fight between where he's been fighting, those levels, and Canelo Alvarez. And it was such a huge jump that the worry is that you're out of your depth. But he never really looked out of his depth in there. You know, we got beat, and we got beat well by a legend, but it was always competitive, the rounds. And I think more importantly, it was the way that he handled the week, the way that he handled the dressing room, the way that he handled the ring walk, the crowd. But for me, one of the most pleasing things was the boxes that he ticked. You know, an impregnable chin that took every shot in the artillery of Canelo Alvarez. And to be honest, like, the knockdown was an incredible left hook. It was kind of like a flash knockdown, but he was never really hurt in the entire fight. And even when he got dropped, he came back, he was firing back, and people loved it. I think his ring IQ, which we knew was better than people anticipated, was good and frustrated Canelo Alvarez at times. But, you know, I said to him after, and he's disappointed, and he should be, because he's a winner and he lost. But ultimately, when he drops back down a level, which is just what you do, because Canelo Alvarez level's so high, he's going to really start to understand the experience that he gained tonight. And like he said about Canelo Alvarez fighting Floyd Mayweather at a young age, that's what he's done. He's stepped up to a whole new level and got a wonderful experience tonight. You know, I said to him earlier, he's secured his entire life and his family's life forever at such a young age. And it's just the beginning. Because right now, I think you have to say that he's probably the #1 name in the division outside of Canelo Alvarez. You know, and there's huge fights out there for him. You know, next year, Jaime Munguia, Caleb Plant, Charlo, Pacheco, our young gun coming through. But he's right now the man in the division as far as I'm concerned. And I'm very proud of that performance. I think he deserves a huge amount of credit.
And just to follow up real quick, you've worked with Canelo so closely. On the heels of this triumph, does it make more sense for him to fight a lighter guy like Crawford, or to try to go up for the glory of Bivol, Peter Bivol, winner, or Benavidez?
Yeah, I mean, look, Canelo's going to do whatever Canelo wants to do. He's earned the right to do that. You know, if Bivol wins in a couple of weeks, he could have a shot at him for the undisputed championship at 175. Crawford was there tonight chasing the fight, and, you know, he's earned the right to do whatever he wants.
Hey, Caleb, what's going on, man? Najee from Cigar Talk. First of all, congratulations. You know, even in this loss, your stock has gone up. I think, you know, you've gained a bit more respect for this fight. Caleb Plant was up here before you, and one of the questions was asked, you know, how he would fight you next, and, you know, if that was something he wants. He made it clear that he wants to fight you, so I just want to know, what do you think about that fight?
I think that fight is possible, you know, but I just finished fighting one of the greatest fighters right now in our era, you know, so I'm not really focused on Caleb. You know, I got to go back, take time off, my family, and then when I head back in the gym, you know, call up Eddie, call the manager, hit up coach, hit up my dad, and we see who's on next on the line.
No more questions.
Hola, buenas noches. Edgar, Erika Montoya del Heraldo. ¿Qué fue lo que aprendiste tú de enfrentar a Canelo? Decías que tú lo comparabas con Floyd Mayweather, con Manny Pacquiao, con ese estilo de peleadores. ¿Qué es lo que te llevas esta noche y qué papel jugó los fanáticos que llenaron aquí la T-Mobile?
Primero, yo me está pensando que yo ganaste los fanáticos y ganó mucha experiencia peleando con leyendas como Canelo. Y eso es más importante ahora mismo para mi carrera, ahora mismo. Y yo creo que después de esto yo voy a ser un super estrella de Puerto Rico, de 160.
All right, the words of Edgar Berlanga, who he says he shook up the world there with his performance against Canelo Alvarez there. There's a chat, interesting chat. Someone says, shook up the world, and then 3 laughing emojis, and then the word delusional there. So it's funny, right? Because when I think of shook up the world, I think of what Ali said after he beat Sonny Liston, right? And then, or even what Buster Douglas did with the upset of Mike Tyson. Do you think that that's maybe a little too much hyperbole there, Tim, with shook up the world? I think we were surprised, but shook up the world is a little too much, maybe.
Yeah, I'd be probably wrong choice of words. You know, he's happy with his performance. And many others out there, you know, are saying that, hey, you did better than what we expected. You know, we all expected, or majority of us, I would say 90% of us, maybe even 85% of us expected Canelo to run straight through, you know, including myself, you know, because of his inexperience and because of what he showed us in the past. But you know, some fighters, man, they rise, man, to these occasions. You know, I didn't think Edgar had it in him, but he showed it tonight. He rose, you know, he rose another level tonight, and it showed inside that ring. You know, he showed that he had grit. He showed that he had some skills, you know, and again, all he needs to do is now that he has some experience, is continue to go to the gym, hone his skills, you know, because this was just like, again, I always tell people all the time, you don't want to skip levels. Well, he skipped a couple of levels and went to the very top. So now he knows how it is to operate at that level. All right. The pressure is completely different at that level. And he handled himself very well. So now he believes people. And when you start to believe and then you apply that in your training camp and you know that, hey, I'm pretty damn good, that's when you start to become a problem in the sport.
Yeah, Paulie, what did you make of Berlanga's comments in that press conference there?
I wasn't crazy about them. I thought a little bit too satisfied with the defeat.
Yeah.
You're supposed to let everybody else praise you coming off a defeat. I don't know. I remember fighting Cotto in my first title fight, and Miguel was coming in on 5 straight knockouts, five defenses of the world championship. That he was young. He was a young phenom already on the rise. He was a world champion, and he'd made 5 defenses of the world championship and won them all by knockout. And I was the 6th defense he made. And to tell you the truth, after the fight, I got a lot of people trying to console me in the same way. I was devastated, man. I could not, I could not be consoled. I was devastated. And, looking back, the performance was enough to keep me in the mix, keep me in the run, just like this performance will keep Edgar in the run, keep him in the mix. But if you are satisfied with that, it leaves me to wonder, do you have what it takes to become a world champion? I was devastated. And I think the fact that I was so hungry still, it allowed me to have the hunger and determination to go and win world championships after that. But I don't mind Edgar getting praised right now. I'll be the first one to praise the performance, and he did better than what we were supposed to. And even Tim, you said the same thing. But you yourself have to be your own worst critic. You have to expect way more from yourself than anybody else does. It's the only way you can motivate yourself more so, in your bed, when you're by yourself, when you're training on your own, and when you're in your private thoughts, And if you are not your own worst critic, then I don't know, man. I thought he was way too soft on himself. I think the praise in a loss is warranted at times, but I don't think it should come from yourself. Absolutely not. There's no way you should ever, especially at this age in your 20s, when you still should be fiery hungry. No way that you should be talking like that. Absolutely not.
So, Champ, do you believe that he never thought he can believe? You never thought that he can believe? Did he ever believe that he can win to begin with before the fight even happened?
I don't know that he ever thought that he believed he could win. And you made a point. Maybe he didn't know how to. I thought of that, but I don't think he believed it, and I don't think he ever fought in a way where he thought he could win. He never went.
Because of that response at the end, you don't think that he's ever thought that I truly believe, because people say it all the time. I'm gonna knock him out in the 6th round. No, you're not. You don't believe that. You don't believe that.
Well, that part is interesting because you're not reminding me of something I was thinking during the fight. If he believed that, there would have been more effort in the 6th round. He didn't even. The 6th round was just the same as every other round. It wasn't like he gave it an extra effort. If he truly believed that, in the 6th round, you would have seen an extra gear in Edgar Berlanga. So this whole 6th round knockout talk was just talk, because he didn't fight the 6th round any differently than he fought any other round. Really, it was pretty much, give or take on the same gear most of the night, with the exception of maybe a little bit of a gear up at times where you give him some credit. Because the only reason you can give him a little bit more credit is he's inexperienced. And the Charlo fight wasn't that long ago with Canelo. Charlo was absolutely disgusting. I mean, that dude showed up just to go 12 rounds. That was amazing. I've never seen anything like that in my life, So the fact that the Charlo fight happened, which really, again, is all on Canelo here. The fact that we're even talking about it, it's all on Canelo. Then you can credit Berlanga a little bit more, because I think Edgar in spots tried a little harder. Maybe he didn't know how to win. That's benefit of the doubt from you. But the way he's talking now, you start to wonder if he ever thought he can win.
Well, you want to know what gave it away for him? To me, is he said, we've been trying to get this fight for 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've been trying to get this fight for 4 years because you believe you can beat him, or you just wanted the money.
Yeah, because was Canelo even champion 4 years ago or no? I don't know.
But I remember he was at Top Rank. That's all he talked about when he was at Top Rank, was like fighting Canelo. Hey, look, his manager did a great job in getting him in position to be able to, fight Canelo. And the ones that saying that did he earn it? I mean, he even passed on fights. He even passed it like, no, we not. In the past, I passed on the fight. I passed on the Amir Khan fight to fight Manny Pacquiao. Facts.
Like a bigger
It
fight.
was on the table. I passed it. No, I'm gonna fight Manny Pacquiao for more money. You know,
so he passed on the Munguia fight. He passed on the Munguia fight to fight Canelo.
He passed on the fight, in order to be able to fight Canelo.
But the thing about you is that you had already been a world champion. You
Of
were
course,
established at a high level. A little bit different. There, it's you're jumping a couple extra rungs, and you haven't. Because honestly, I fought Cotto and I hadn't beaten a big name either, but I had dominated everything. You know, with the exception of a couple of fights with some injuries that I had dominated in my on the come up. You know, so it was time to step me up to a higher level. With Edgar, you know, you never got that feeling. He was a little bit unstable, on shaky legs at times in some fights. So that's why the Canelo fight sort of left you to wonder a little bit, especially as I said, where Canelo was, you know, demeaning Andrade and saying who did he fight when Andrade was in his prime and wanted to fight him. So that's why it was a little bit you know, throws you off a little bit. But you know, like Chris says, you know, Canelo just does what he wants. He marches to the beat of his own drum.
Yeah, pretty much. You know how much Berlanga made for this fight?
I'm not sure.
10 million.
Ooh, it's a nice payday.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, you could be happy for him. You know, that's
Look, his family's taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, just as Eddie Hearn said, he's like, hey, he's taken care of. He positioned himself. He got the fight. He did better than what expected. Moving forward, people gonna be looking out for him and seeing what he's gonna do next in the sport.
I guess it was always about the money. This reminds me of when Hulk Hogan turned heel on WCW when he went to the NWO, and then he gets up there and he goes, all those kids that I was writing your letters, all that, I did it for the money. I did it for the money.
That's right.
I guess Edgar did it for the money. He didn't sound so disappointed, but that money might make you, you know, feel a little better, I guess.
Is that when he went from Hulk Hogan to Hollywood Hogan and then dyed the beard and everything like that? Yep. Yep. Hulk Hogan making an appearance here on Big Fight Breakdown. Fellas, ESPN analyst Tim Bradley, Hall of Famer, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you. Great insights as usual. And Magic Man Paulie Malignaggi as well. Fantastic work from both of you here on Big Fight Breakdown. And we'd like to remind you, October 9th, the best live fight series in all of boxing continues. Wednesday Night Fights. It is going to be a great card from Tampa. You definitely don't want to miss it live here on ProBox TV, where your boxing channel, and also download the app where you can watch Wednesday Night Fights. I'm George DeMatteis. Thank you for watching Big Fight Breakdown.
Wednesday Night Fights.
Dynamite action on Wednesday Night Fights every other Wednesday on your boxing channel.
Coming up on your next Wednesday Night Fights, October 9th. Chris, Primetime Colbert, and Omar Super Salcido step into the ring for what is sure to be a barn burner. Live from the ProBox Event Center in Plant City. Get your tickets at ProBoxTV.com or take your chances at the door. Wednesday Night Fights.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel. Yeah.